Welcome back. This is Morris Gimba, and today we are going to create the tie beams and bracings for our column. This is part 5 of how to create a curved truss in Comosys. Now, let me just click on that spot and press and hold my right button on my mouse and move my mouse like that. I'll be able to rotate. Now, if you take a look closer, we have only one truss and two columns on the other side. So we want to populate this along the y-axis. And to populate that, first of all, you have to confirm how many bays do you have along your axis or along your full length of your structure. So as it is now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 bays, and how many columns we have? Approximately 11 of them. You can see 1 up to 11 here. So by default we have 1. So the number we have to add is only 10. So I'll come here and select everything here because we want to populate the truss and the columns on the full length at a distance of 6 meters interval to the far end here, prior to placing the tie beams and the bracings. Now I'll right click and come to special copy and pick on linear. And the moment you invoke the linear command or the linear option, you'll be able to see this copy by distance dialog box here. And we have 3 tabs here: copy with, elimination, and our most useful tab is just the first tab. The rest will go in step by step and explain how to apply the same on the same tool. Now you can see now, as it is now, I want to define my first bay. How long is it? I'll snap on that spot and move all the way to that particular end. And you can see before I click, you can see it is 6,000 millimeter, which is 6 meter. I'll click on that spot. So the moment I click on that spot, you can see on the y-axis we have 6 meter, but that distance has been prefixed by negative sign because we are moving in the opposite direction of y-axis. So once we've done so, we can see by default we have only one member here. So we can add the counts here to 9 or to 10 of them because we want 11 of them, but by default we have one by default in place. So we only need 10. So I'll go ahead and just increase this number to 10, and that's it. Now I'll go ahead and click copy. So the moment I click on copy, you'll be able to see all that information being processed as you see here. So you can see copying by 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. You can see that. So the moment you get to 10, everything will be completed right there. So I can go ahead and click close. So the moment I click on close, I'll click on empty screen to deselect the far end member or the far end truss and column. So we have all the columns and the truss already populated along the y-axis. Now we can go ahead, and everything has been copied to the far end. You can see we have all the connections with our welds in place. So the next step we are going to create or to place on our structure is how to tie this column and the truss into position so that they don't wobble while we do the erection on site. So the next we are going to place is the tie beams. So I'm going to place. I'm going to just snap at the bottom end here, and then offset that member up to this particular location here by a particular height of distance. By a particular distance, I'll come to beam under steel, then pick on the beam. So I'll just mouse over the bottom end here, and the moment you see a red snap, there means you are in the right position, and snap on that spot. And if mouse over there, you indicate that you are in the right intersection point, then snap on that. Then right click, and to terminate that command, you click interrupt. To check the profile name of this or the profile size of this particular member, just double click on it, and you'll be able to see all the properties of this particular profile. You can see this is IPE 200, and if you want to change that, you can always come here and click on this particular beam or column section, just click on that, and you'll be taken into a huge catalog of all steel profiles. So once you pick on your preferred steel profile, just pick on any. But in this particular case, we've chosen IPE 200. So there's no need of selecting further. Just go ahead and click close, and we just close this because this is our we've chosen that to work with that. So it is at the bottom end here, and we need to offset it or take it up all the way to this far end. So I'll right click here and come to special copy or move. I'll just come to special copy so that we apply that. And up here we have, let me just change everything to 0 because I'm going to work with the Z axis only, so the rest must remain to 0 or on 0. So I'll just type in here 4850. And since you're moving up on the positive direction of y-axis, I don't need to prefix this dimension with a negative sign because we are positively moving up and not moving down to against the direction of our z-axis. So once I've indicated the dimension here, this is 4850 millimeter, 4850 millimeter. So in short, it's A is 4.85 meters. So I'll go ahead and click copy. So you can see that has been taken to that far end. So once it is here, we can get rid of this one because this was just a guideline to place our tie beam accurately. So we can get rid of that. So once I've done so, I want to create a connection between the columns here, between this column and the beam, and the same apply here between this column and the tie beam. So I need to create a connection that will not interfere with the bolting setting on the other end when I create another tie beam at the other end. So I'll apply this stiffened end plate. So if I invoke that command under beam to column connection, I'll select my column first, my main column, then come to the beam there, then right click and to create that connection. So I'll pick my point of interest by left clicking, then right click and hold your left button, your right button on the mouse, and you can be able to rotate this. So you see this connection. If I turn the other end, if you're not creating or any interference with the tie beam, that I'll be able to place on this far end. Suppose I use the bolting, the bolt will penetrate through and create an interference with the setup of this tie beam that will be created on this opposite direction. So I'll apply the same thing here, the same connection this far end. Select on that, select on this, and right click to create that connection. So let me just turn that around. You can see the connection in that place. This is perfect. Now, always don't forget to save your work. I'll go ahead and click save here. So the next thing I'm going to create a bracing. So the bracing, I'm going straight to the beam, or we can just go straight to vertical bracing. I'll select on the vertical bracing right there, and still, then I'll just mouse over the bottom end here until you see the red snapping point, which means you're in the right point, intersection point. So I'll select on that point, then zoom out and just mouse over here until you see the right midpoint of this particular member. I'll snap on that spot. Then from the same spot, I'll just mouse there and target the bottom end here and snap on the right intersection point right there. So if I come back at the top end here, I'll be able to pick that as my point of interest. Then hold my right button on the mouse and turn that round. So I want a back-to-back bracing, so I'll add a twin bracings. So we call it back-to-back. So I'll just select on that, then double click on it once again. So once I've double clicked on it, I'll have this dialog box of this particular profile. So instead of doing one by one, I'll just select this also. So to select the two, just select the first one, then double click while pressing Control button, double click like that to include it on this selection. Or if it has deselected itself, once this dialog box has appeared, just go back and press Control and add it into that selection. So any change you make here will also affect this one also. So I want to add a twin twin bracings or back to back. I'll click twin, then come here and click set as a default, or you can just leave it as it is, and I'll go ahead and click apply. And if I click apply, I'll be warned here changes will be applied to multiple objects. Just continue by clicking yes. So that has affected the two. You can see that. So I have these two back-to-back bracings in place. So the way they have been arranged is not the best way it should be to me. So I'm going to select one of them, then press Control Q to reorient or adjust them to the best position, and select this one also and press Control Q, and that's the way I want it to be. So if I come closer to the bottom end here, I can see we have the connection or the arrangement at the bottom end here, perfectly well placed. So if I come here also and turn that round, perfectly well placed. Now I want to create a connection between this tie beam and these two back-to-back angled profile. Now I'll come to beam to beam or beam to column connection or beam to beam connection. What I'm going to do, I'm going to select that option, and I don't see any that will be able to apply on that particular connection. So I'm going to bracings. I think here on the bracings under macro gallery, I'll be able to get the right tool to create a connection between the tie beam and also from the column and the bracing. I'll come to bracings here and click on that drop down arrow. Then pick on the bolted gusset plate there, select on that. So if I pick my tie beam right there, you can see select the main profile or plate. The tie beam will be my main profile. So I'll select the tie beam, then select this member and select the other member, then right click, and I'll be able to create a connection between the two. But you can see there's some plates or some members that I don't need to be included here. This plate here, it's serving no purpose to me. So I'm going to remove it, or to remove it, you always you remember, if you use commas, you have the opportunity or a chance to create a connections for various members if you do so many structures. So I'll just select this member by left clicking, then press letter M on my keyboard, then enter right on my keyboard right away, and I'll give it some time to bring this joint dialog box, this gusset plate dialog box. So in here, I have done my preset here. If I come to macro presets here and come to this drop down arrow and pick my connections here. So I'll pick bracing 1 and click load. So if I click load there, I'll be able to apply that connection. So if I click apply, I'll be able to get rid of that particular plate that was added into this connection. So if I left click on that joint, this is a joint, then right click and hold on my left button, I'll be able to see, you can see the connection has been created there. So I've created a connection between this bracing and the tie beam. Now I'm going to add a connection between the column and this bracing. So how do we add that? I'll come to the same tool on macro under macro gallery here and apply the same tool here. I'll select on the column, then select on the bracing and right click to create a connection. But you can see our gusset plates has gone all the way through below the 0 level, and we want to adjust this to be welded on the surface on the top end of this particular base plate. So what do you do? I'll just press letter M and enter on my keyboard right there. Then give it some time to bring the dialog box setting so that we can customize our connection. So I'll come to macro presets and apply this. I'll come to column connection, truss column connection right there, and click load and click apply. So if I click apply, you can see I have this in place, and it's not actually what I wanted. It's not working properly. So I'm going to select on that member again, then press letter M and enter, and give some time to bring that dialog box so that we can customize our setting here. So if I go back to my macro presets, Remember, these dimensions is set by themselves, by yourself, and save them so that you can apply them later on similar member size and similar connection. So I'll come here and pick the best. So I'll come to a gusset plate and try to add that and load and apply and give it an OK. And you can see that has changed, but it hasn't responded well. But that's it, and we have created that in place. So I'll go back and apply the same thing this far end, and come back there and click the column and apply that there. So I'll go ahead and modify that, select, then press letter M and enter on your keyboard. Then I'll apply my macro preset that I had created before, though I'm going to display the settings that I've just applied here under preset, under the presets that I had saved. So I'll come here and pick on that, then load. So if I come to figures, you can see these are my settings. If I come to parts, you can see these are my settings. Secondary, these are my settings. That and that. Perfect. Now, once I've loaded this, I'll come here and click apply and give it an OK. So you can see that have been added, and that's how it works. So I want to copy this. I'll select that. Then once I've selected that, I'll right click and come to special copy here, a special copy, copy special, and come to mirror. So once I've come to mirror, I want to define my mirror line. I want to define my mirror line from this spot to that spot right in the middle. So once I've done so, I'll come to options here and invoke that command to enable everything to be copied at the other end. So I'll go ahead and click run. I'll come back again and select the tie beam and the bracing here. Then I'll right click and come to special copy here and pick mirror. So the moment I pick on mirror, you can see still my mirror point or mirror line still active. So I'll come to options here. So if I come to options tab and click run, I'll be able to see the tie beam and the bracing have been copied this far end, and I'll close that. So you can see at this far end we have that in place. We have a bracing, and that is at the bottom end here, and everything is perfect. Now we want to populate the same along the full length. So what we are going to do, I'm going to select that, press Control and select on this. Press Control and select that. So I'm going to right click once again and come to special copy here and click linear. So the moment I click on linear, I'll define the length of my bay, of each bay, which is 6 meters. I'll define it from that spot and all the way to that spot there. You can see it's 6 meters. So if I click on that, you can see it's 6 meters here along the y-axis. So how many do we want? We want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. So I'll increase this count. I'll increase this count to 10. To 10 right there. So the moment I've done so, and my selection is still active, I can go ahead and click copy. We can redo that, and let me just go ahead and select it once again. I'll right click and come to copy. And I want to use copy because this might be too much information for my system or for my laptop or for my machine to process. So I'll just copy one by one along the bay because it is actually too much information, the bolting and the members in place. And let me just snap on that spot and snap on this spot and give it some time. So you can see I have copied the tie beam that in that spot and this one here. So right click and click on empty screen, and if I come here and save, so you can apply the same tactic or the same approach all the way to the far end there. You can also select all these members, and we can add some button plates. So if I come to IntelliConnect here, I can add button plates here. So I can come here and just pick on the button plates there. So I can add this. I just go ahead, click and add run. So if I close this, you can see all the information they are done. So if I close that, I'll be able to see I have my button plates in place. You can see that. So once you've done so, you can add all these along the full length of this particular bay. So that's how you can do it. And let's meet then the next presentation. This is Morris Rimba, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Bye bye, and let's meet then.